A lot of people start coming in. Good morning or afternoon. Let's see.
Your stream is live now and your host back again.
Okay, great. Thanks, Kevin. Hi, Doreen. How are you?
Hi, how are you, Wade?
Oh, I'm great. Thanks. It's a nice
Good.
sunny day here in North Carolina.
Oh, same in New York.
Is it? Okay, good, good. Hey, Norma. Are you there?
Yes, good morning.
Hey, good to. There. Oh, there you are. Hi. And we got two Normas today. Hi, Norma. Okay. All right. And Janet, so you're coming in?
Oh,
Hey, back to back. Welcome.
Yeah.
Hi, Linda.
Hi.
So, Olivian, are you there? Let's see, Camille, good morning.
Good morning.
Let's see.
Where are you in North Carolina?
Yes, I'm in North Carolina. I'm in Southport, close to Wilmington.
Ah, I like Wilmington.
Yeah, it's nice. We're about 30 minutes from Wilmington. Hey, John, welcome.
Hey, good to see you again, Wade.
Good to see you too. Okay, well, there's Livian. So you're, hi. Let's see, we got, who else? Allison, you there? Let's see. And let's see, June, you there?
I'm here. Thank you.
Hi, June. Okay, welcome back. Elaine, hi.
Hi,
Good to see you.
thank you.
Hank, you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, great. Thanks, Hank. Good to have you. All right. Let's see, Joe. You hear me?
Yes, hi, how are you?
Okay. Oh, I'm doing wonderful. Thank you.
Good, thanks.
Myra. Hi, Myra. Okay, and there's Gladys. Hi, Gladys. Can you hear me?
Hi, I hear you. Hi,
Okay.
how are you?
Great. I am wonderful. Thanks. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
All right. So I think I've heard from everybody. Let's see. Like Rosa is still connecting. Oh, Rosa, can you hear me?
Hello, now I can. I'm sorry.
Okay,
To unmute.
Yeah, it looks like it was taking a while for your audio connect, but it looks like you're
Yes.
here. Good. All right. So we usually take the first 4 to 5 minutes of class to give people a chance to get in from other classes and get their technology working. So I think I've heard from everyone that's here so far. Anyone that wants to turn their video on, it's right beside your mute. Just start video. Not required, but we'd love to see you if you're okay with sharing your picture. And we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to probably have a few more people come in. So Susan was just, oh, there he is. So, hey, Susan. Susan's made it in. So we may have a few other people joining us along the way here, but we're going to go ahead and get started. We've got a lot of ground to cover today. So let me share my screen and get a few housekeeping things out of the way, and then we'll get into the class itself. I'm just moving your pictures over to my other screen so that I can see you from over here. Get that out of the way. Don't need that anymore. Okay. And I will be muting everybody. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. We'll probably end up having to mute several times during the course of the class. Whenever there's background noise or echoes, I will go ahead and mute everyone. But please do, before you ask a question or make a comment, do check and see if you're muted. And if you are, just remember to unmute before you ask a question or make a comment. And I'm also going to open up the chat window as well. And Phil is here from our Get Set Up TA team, and he's going to help me monitor the chat. So if anyone's having trouble with their microphone, you can reach us that way. But if your mic is working, please just go ahead and ask your questions out loud. That way everyone else can hear your questions, and I'll hear them on a timely basis as well. But the chat is open if you need that in addition. Okay, let me do one thing here. Okay, all right. So I think that gets us ready for the class. So let's go ahead and officially get things started. This is OneDrive Basics. Welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining. My name is Wade Yarbrough, and I'll be the guide for your class today. Briefly about me, I'm from a town called Mason, Tennessee, small town just outside of Memphis. I kind of have a mixed background. I have a degree in psychology and have taught psychology early in my career and late in my career. But most of my career, I was installing and training users on how to use hospital information systems. So I've done a lot of adult training, but I love teaching at Get Set Up, primarily because the people here are in the class because you want to be in the class, not because your employer made you take the class or it was required for your degree in college. And it makes it nice for all of us. And that's really what we try to do at Get Set Up, is to create an environment where you can take classes you're really interested in along with other people that are interested in the same class. Allows you to interact with other participants and learners as well as with the guide. I call that the full Get Set Up experience. The session is being recorded, and any participant can request a copy of that recording by sending an email to help@getsetup.io. I'm going to put that in the chat as well in case you don't have that email address. Be sure and copy that down. At the end of the class, during the closing slides, I'll talk about some other ways you might want to use that email as well. So it's a handy one to have. We're also live streaming the class, and we want to welcome everyone that's joining us via live stream. Thanks you for joining us as well, and hope you enjoy the class. But I do want to stress that the best way to get that full Get Set Up experience is to go to our website and register for a class. That way you can interact with the other learners and also ask questions of the guide. And finally, we're not paid to promote any of the products or vendors that we train on. We are purely trainers. All right, let's talk about the objectives today. At the end of the class, you should know what cloud drives are and how they work. And in the class, we're going to start at a fairly broad, high level, talking about cloud drives in general and get more and more concrete as we move through the class. You'll learn multiple ways to access OneDrive, understand how to add files to OneDrive and take files out of OneDrive, and how to manage and share OneDrive files with other people. But we're going to start, as I said, at the high level, at the cloud storage level. And most of you probably remember before there was such a thing as a cloud drive, and we just had our laptop or our desktop. And if I sat down here and typed in a letter, it was saved on the hard drive of my computer. If I needed to take it somewhere with me or give it to somebody, I would put in originally a floppy disk, later a CD or maybe a thumb drive, but everything was physically connected to the computer. And what the cloud has done is it's opened it up where now we can create a document here, but put it in the cloud. And by doing that, it gives me access to it from multiple devices, as well as allowing me to share it with other people. And we'll talk about that in more detail later. But that's really what the cloud does. It breaks that dependence on the physical drive itself. Of course, cloud isn't really a cloud. It's a data center in the sky. Whatever cloud service vendor you're using, they've got a huge data center with computers and drives. So my data may be here on this hard drive, run by these computers over here, managed by a team of IT professionals that know a lot more about what they're doing than I do. There are four main cloud storage vendors in the North America. Dropbox was one of the earliest ones. They're one of the pioneers of this whole area, and they aren't affiliated with any particular software vendor. They just provide storage options. That when the software providers saw how valuable that cloud storage was, they all got in the game as well. So now Apple has iCloud, Google has Google Drive, and Microsoft has OneDrive. They all do pretty much the same thing, slightly different twists among the four of them, but they're all providing this cloud storage capability. I'm going through a lot of background material here fairly quickly, but if I go too quickly, please do unmute yourself and ask a question or make a comment. So let's talk about the benefits of cloud storage. Everybody's doing it, so there must be some good reasons. And there are really three really good reasons to have cloud storage. One is it saves storage space on your device. So if in the past, I could fill up my drive on my laptop. And if I did, I'd have to take some stuff off of there, delete some things, put it onto a floppy disk or whatever. By being able to take my files off of the device and put it into the cloud, I basically have unlimited storage capability available to me. So it breaks that dependence on the size of the storage on my device, which is especially important with laptops and even more with phones and tablets. You can share and collaborate on documents with others. That's a huge benefit. So by putting my file in the cloud, I can give you access over here and somebody else can have access over here. You can have multiple people sharing that file. You can give them access to it so they can make a copy without affecting your copy, or you can actually give them access to your copy and multiple people can edit that one document at the same time, collaboratively working on those documents. That's all enabled by having it here in the cloud as opposed to on the physical devices. And finally, you can access your data from all these devices as well as public devices. So if I put something on in my cloud from my home computer, I go to a hotel and I go down to the lobby of the hotel where they've got loaner computers. I could log into that computers and get access to all my files from a PC that's not mine, any device where I can launch a browser, I can get to my information, including my phone. So it gives you much more access to your files. Stop there and see if there's any questions about those benefits and see if you're getting an idea of how the cloud works and what it is. Okay. All right, let's go on. There's two other concepts I want to talk about, which are extremely important and sometimes confusing and which makes people get in a little bit of trouble. Backing up is the first term, and we all should be pretty familiar with backing up. We've been doing this forever. When I just had my desktop, I would back up to CDs, DVDs, maybe an external storage device. But basically backing up just means making a copy of your files, putting them somewhere else safe. So if something happens, my hard drive crashes, I lose my laptop, whatever, my files are safe. I can restore a copy of individual files or even all of my files. The cloud lets me do that now. Instead of having to back up onto some physical media connected to my computer, I can back up to the cloud. There are some vendors that do that. Carbonite is probably one of the better known ones where I can now back up to the cloud as opposed to backing up to CDs. But it's the same thing. I'm taking a point in time copy, putting it somewhere. I never change those anymore after I make that copy. They're just for safekeeping. Syncing is similar, but very different. Syncing means when you add, change, or delete synced files, it changes those files for everyone that are using them. Let me kind of point it out up here if I explain it with an example better. So if I'm sitting here on my laptop and I create a document and I save it in a synced cloud. I mentioned I can access that now from other devices, and even other people can access that file. But anything anyone does to that file affects everybody. So if I change this file and then I go and pull it up from my desktop, I get the changed version. If I'm on a phone, I get the changed version. So we're actually, the way to think about it is the document is here in the cloud. We're all using the same document at the same time. The key thing to remember there is that if I'm on my laptop and I say, I'm running out of space, I don't really need that file, I'm going to delete it from my laptop because it's in the cloud. If I delete it when I'm on my laptop, I delete it from the cloud, which means it's gone from here, it's gone from everywhere. Whatever anyone does to a synced file from anywhere, it's done in the cloud and it affects everybody everywhere. Questions about that one? That one's important because that's where people get in trouble. They delete a synced file thinking, they're just deleting it from their device, but they're really deleting it from the cloud. Okay.
So if you have 3 people maintaining the document at the same time, whose gets saved and in what order do they get saved?
They all get saved because it is a single document. How that works is not is part of the software, and so that would depend on. So, like in with Microsoft, if you're using Word, Word handles that collaboration. So there's some rules around if who decides which copies to keep and whose updates to keep or not. But they're all made to the same file is the important part, and that's basically what OneDrive provides. And again, more importantly, if any one of those 3 people deletes that file, it's gone from everybody because there's only one copy of the file. It's the one here in the cloud. Good question. I'm going to keep harping on this as we go. So if it's a little bit fuzzy now, hopefully it'll be very clear by the time we get to the end of the class. Let me go ahead and OneDrive is used just for syncing. It is not a backup. That's where some of the differences. iCloud, which is Apple's equivalent to OneDrive, does backups and syncing. In some ways, it's easier because all OneDrive does is syncing. So everything is synced. There is no backup. Let's keep going if there's no questions here. So let's drill down now into OneDrive. We've been talking generically about how all cloud drives work. So OneDrive is a cloud syncing service available to anyone with a Microsoft account. It's baked into Windows 10. So if you have Windows 10, you have OneDrive. All of the Microsoft Office products, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, Outlook, OneNote, all use OneDrive. So which is kind of what this picture is showing. All the different parts of Microsoft are designed to work with OneDrive. Okay. It's not exclusively, and I'll show you that later. You don't have to use OneDrive, but they all can use OneDrive is probably the better way to say that. And even more importantly, you can store and sync non-Microsoft files. So it's not just for your Excel and your PowerPoint and your Word. I can take a PDF I downloaded from the internet and put it into my OneDrive. So anything I can put on my device, I can store in the cloud in my OneDrive. And I'm going to show you examples of all of this, which will hopefully make it even more clear. Okay, so there's multiple ways you can access OneDrive. So we're going to start showing you some of this, hopefully making it clear. Probably the most common way most people access it is through their file system. And OneDrive does work on Mac. I'm going to be using a Windows device, so it's going to look a little bit different if you're on a Mac, but it works basically the same way. In Windows, it's File Explorer. With Mac, it's called Mac Finder. So I'm going to open File Explorer. It's this little icon down here. And it's how you can see your files. And it's been around in various formats since the first version of Windows. Originally, at that point, all you had was your PC and everything attached to your PC, your C drive. I've got a USB drive. I call them a thumb drive, a USB drive attached. So there's my USB drive. So this is what it used to look like. Now that you've got OneDrive, here's my OneDrive, and you can tell I use OneDrive a lot. I got a ton of folders, but here's my OneDrive. I can collapse this for a second. But OneDrive looks and works just like all these other file folders down here. It's just in the cloud as opposed to physically attached to my computer. In fact, one of the scenarios I use, that's why this picture's over here. You can think about OneDrive as a USB drive in the sky. It works almost exactly the same way it works with a thumb drive. So let me explain what I'm talking about there. So let's say I've downloaded a file and I've got it here on my my C drive and I want to move it somewhere. If I wanted to put it on in a thumb drive, I could just take that device, I'll grab a file and put that in my USB drive. And so now there's that file over here in my USB drive. I could do the same thing. I could go to my my downloads or my documents. And if I wanted to take this document off of my physical device and put it into my cloud, I can just grab this favorite pancake recipe file and put it into the cloud into my Get Set Up OneDrive class folder. There's the favorite pancake recipe. It's now stored in the cloud in OneDrive. Got there the same way I would put it anywhere else. You can just drag and drop it. If you do that, it moves it. If I wanted to leave a copy on my C drive, I could copy and paste. Then I'd have two copies of it. The two copies would not be linked. They would be separate. So if you change one of them, it wouldn't have any impact on the other one. Questions? Is this making sense? Okay. Right. Let's go over some other examples. We're going to come back to this view frequently, but I'm going to go ahead and close this down for a second. So File Explorer is one way to get access to OneDrive. I mentioned that all of the Microsoft Office applications are built to use OneDrive. Let's open Word and show you how that works. So this is Microsoft Word. I'm going to create a blank document. And put something in the document. And now I'm ready to save this file. And it works like it's always worked. I can go up to File and I can do Save. The difference now, I have two choices. I can save this on my device, on my PC, or I can save it in the cloud. So Microsoft doesn't force me to use OneDrive. It just makes OneDrive available for me to use and makes it very easy for me to use. But if I wanted to put it on my PC instead, I could still click this PC. It opens File Explorer, and I could put it in my documents or in my any other folder I've got on my local. Or I could come up here and save it into my OneDrive.
So Wade, this is Elaine. I have a question. So
Sure.
my choice is only OneDrive or my documents in Word? I have to do one or the other because I've tried saving it to OneDrive and then I lose it, and I really need to put it in a folder.
You can put it anywhere. So I'm giving it a name. So if I wanted to put it in my OneDrive, I can put it up here. And if it's something that has multiple folders, I could go in and put it in any one of these folders.
But that's all under OneDrive, isn't it?
It's the same down here. If I wanted to come down here to documents, but I got some subfolders under documents. And if I wanted to put it in this OneNote notebook folder or my Kindle content folder, I can put it in any folder anywhere.
Is that still under OneDrive?
Nope, this is down here on my computer.
Okay, so you can save it multiple times into
Uh,
OneDrive and on your computer?
Nope, I'm putting it one place.
Okay,
Why-
so if I just want to put it on my computer, I can't save it to OneDrive.
You, I can put it on you can have a copy both places, but they're not linked.
Okay, well, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
okay,
can
so
put it here on in my computer, and I'm going to show you some other things later that may clear this up a little bit more, but I'm created this document. I'm going to save it somewhere. I can only save it one place. I can't, while I'm using it in Word, I can save it on my computer. I can even put it on my thumb drive down here. If I want to put it on my thumb drive.
But only in one place.
One place at a time, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to put it back up here in my OneDrive and just save this. I called it class 414 so we can keep track of it. And so it's now there. Now, one thing that it lets me do, since I've put it in my OneDrive, is I can use something called autosave. And what autosave does is it autosaves. If you use Google, it does the same thing. So I can keep working here and put in a second line. And I don't have to save this. I can just X out of here. And it automatically saves. So if I go back up here to my File Explorer, there's that file I just put here. If I open it, it's going to have that second line. So that's one feature that OneDrive provides to all the Microsoft Office suite, is I can use autosave if I'm stored it in OneDrive. You have to have it in OneDrive to use autosave.
Wait, I got a question from Elaine.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure. Yeah. She said, so you can't save to the cloud with OneDrive, only sync?
I save it to to the cloud, which means it automatically syncs with everything that syncs to OneDrive. So, yeah. So if I put it in OneDrive, it is automatically synced. Does that make sense?
It's synced but not saved. Is that correct?
It is saved.
It is saved as well as synced.
Yep, because see, I saved this file. I opened Word. I created a file. And then I saved it. I can close Word. Here it is. There's that file. It was created today at 12:57 today. So it saved it in the cloud.
Thank you. I was confused. I thought one could not save but only sync.
Yeah, saving and syncing are really the same thing if you're talking about the cloud.
Thank you.
If I save it on my computer, it's not synced. If I save it in the cloud, it's synced. But either way, I'm saving it. So syncing is an attribute of the cloud. Okay, good question.
I got one more.
This is complex. I mean, ask questions. You know the question?
Yep. From Norma.
Okay.
She said, my laptop is 6 months old and my OneDrive is full. So what can I do to be able to free up space to add more photos or documents without paying for it?
Your OneDrive is full. Do you have Microsoft 365? Because if you got 365, it's a terabyte of data, which you could conceivably fill up. But yeah, if you fill up OneDrive, your choice is to buy more OneDrive space or delete stuff out of OneDrive. There's not much else you can do if you've used up everything. But that's a ton of space, but you can go up to 2 terabyte of space. So that's the only option there. Delete stuff or buy more space, but it will go up to 2 terabytes. Okay. All right. So we talked about the different applications, and it works the same in Excel and PowerPoint as it does in Word. Let's go to what I think is one of the magic parts of OneDrive. I talked about that you could be at a hotel somewhere and you need to get access to your files and you don't have your laptop with you. So you can just go down to the lobby of that hotel and go to one of the computers there, open up a browser, click on the plus to open a new browser windows and type OneDrive. And OneDrive.live.com. And that opens up. Now, if you're on that computer, you would have to enter your username and password. I've already entered my username and password on this device, so it didn't ask me again. But you would enter your username and password, and then it opens up your OneDrive from a browser window. And you can see this looks just like this one. I got the same files. In fact, I can go down to the one we just entered, which was Get Set Up OneDrive class. And here's the class 414 that we just entered 4 minutes ago. So I can access this. If I wanted to look at that file we just put in there, I can click here and I can open it. Now let's say that for whatever reason, let's say it doesn't have a Word installed on that computer, or maybe it's a Mac and it doesn't have it on there. Doesn't matter, you can get to it from any device. If it's got Word installed, you can open it in Word. If you don't, you can open it in Word Online, which is going to now open Word in another tab on that browser, showing me my file. I can edit my file from that browser, put in a third line. Don't have to save anything. I just X out of there. It's now updated that information here in the cloud. I can do all the other things I could do from File Explorer, just not quite as easily. But if I wanted to, let's say I'm doing this at a friend's house and I show him this file and he says, yeah, I'd like to get a copy of that. Can you do that? And what I can do is just click here and hit download, and it'll download a copy of this file to the hard drive of that person's device, whatever that device is. If he's got a file that I want to get a copy of, I can upload it from his device. Just click upload file and it'll open up File Explorer if it's a Windows device, and I can grab the file down there. Let me just go and grab something here just to. I just grabbed test local. I don't know what this is. We'll open that. Yep. And I've already used that for another class. We're just going to replace it. But you can see how it uploads it. So questions about that? Can you see how you can get access to your files? I'll give you an example. I used to teach a class in psychology at the local community college. And prior to OneDrive, I'd have to keep thumb drives with all my slides on them so I would have them when I get to the classroom. With OneDrive, what I would do is I would do my lectures before class, have them on my OneDrive, go to the college, go to the classroom, turn on the computer in the classroom, go to a browser, bring up OneDrive. And in fact, I could even go back to my files. This was the files. This is Brunswick Community College, fall 2020. Online lecture slides. I could click here, open these slides on the computer in the classroom, show my slides, no problem. I didn't have to carry around thumb drives or CDs with my slides on it. All right. No questions. I'll leave this open in case we need to come back to it. The last way I can get to it is from my phone. So let me slide this over so you can see my phone. I'm going to go over to OneDrive on my phone. This is an iPhone, in fact. So this is iPhone, not Apple, not Microsoft. Got the same folders. I can come down here to Get Set Up OneDrive class. Here's that file we've been working on, class 414. I can even open that on my phone. And there's that third line that we entered from the browser up here. I can now get to the most recent version from my phone as well. questions? So those are the three advantages we talked about. You can get to your files from anywhere. You can from any of your devices. There's a question about whether what happens with your OneDrive files if OneDrive becomes obsolete. It's probably not likely to happen with it's run by Microsoft, but if you decide, for instance, you don't want to use OneDrive anymore, maybe you decide you become an Apple person and you want to use iCloud Drive, which I can get to from my Windows device using File Explorer. I could copy all these files out of OneDrive into iCloud Drive. Now I'm using Apple's cloud service instead of Microsoft's cloud service, but literally I would just drag this folder up here, drop it in iCloud Drive, and I've moved my files. So you're not locked in. If you want to use Dropbox instead, you can drag all these into a Dropbox folder. Here's Dropbox up here.
Wade, the OneDrive is an app that has to be downloaded on your or added to your phone?
Yes, on the phone, you would have to go to the App Store and download it. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. And yeah. Okay. All right. So let me keep going because probably some of the other questions I may still answer, but unmute and ask questions if you have any. I do see a question in the chat about how secure are your files. Yeah. I would say the only way to be 100% secure anymore is if you have everything on your computer and you don't connect to the Wi-Fi. Because beyond that, nothing is 100% secure. I mean, someone can tap into your file server in your living room, get to your desktop and grab your files. So I think it's as or more secure as something sitting on my desktop connected to the internet, because Microsoft has tons of people that know how to protect things. But is it 100% safe? No, but nothing anywhere is 100% safe. But it's a good question. Yeah, and somebody spotted the green circles. We'll talk about those in a few minutes. Let's go to the last advantage we talked about. The last advantage we talked about was sharing files. And let me show you how that works. So let me go back to File Explorer. And I'm going to grab a file. And we'll grab the favorite pancake recipe file. And if I wanted to share this, so say you wanted a copy of my favorite pancake recipes, I can just right click on that and click share. And for some reason it doesn't like that file. Let me. Okay, that's what normally comes up. There's something it didn't like about that other file. Some of these I've played around with a lot, but this is what you should see. And it basically says, what do you want the person you're going to share with to be able to do with your file? And so I can say, in this case, I would probably say view only. So you want a copy of my recipe. I don't want you changing my recipe, but I'll let you copy it and then save it with a different name. And now you've got your copy of it. If we're going to work on this recipe together, then I'll allow you to edit it. So either one of us can edit it. So you set the rights the other person gets. You can set an expiration date. So maybe we'll edit, but I only want to let you edit it for a week. So you can edit it, but I'm going to turn it off after a week. And if it's something that's fairly secure, private, you can set a password so that they also have to enter a password to access it. So you set those three, however you want to set it. Apply those, and then you just put in the email address of who you want to share it with. And if they're in your contacts, they'll eventually find it. If they're not in your contacts, it's okay. You can just put that in. Then you can add more people. So you can share it with as many people as you want to. You can add a message. and hit send, and it will send them an email with a link that will take them to that file with those privileges.
Wade, this is John. Can you share a folder with multiple files in the folder?
Good question. And yes, indeed you can. You can. So maybe I'm going to share this whole folder with you. Same process. I just right click and share. And it gives me the same options. But in this case, I'm sharing that folder. And if you're working with a team, that's probably what you would do, because there may be 5 or 6 files that you're going to be working on together with the team. So then you just, by putting a file in this folder, they can now have access to it. You don't have to do it for each file you want to share.
Great. That can replace my Dropbox. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah. And so you could do it at any level of file. Yeah. Questions about sharing? All right. So let's go to the last topic, I think, and somebody had spotted this. One thing that I think OneDrive does better than iCloud or Google Drives does is it lets you control what's on your PC. And some people have already spotted these icons over here, want to know what they are. So we're going to talk about those now. What these are indicating is where, well, and let me go back to the picture here. So remember, everything is in the cloud. Everything is always in the cloud. And what is in the cloud is what is syncing. But I can have my file stored only in the cloud. And if I got this little cloud icon, that means that it's stored only in the cloud. This is just a shortcut. This is going to take me up here to the cloud and grab that file. It's not on my computer. It's a link to the cloud. If it's got a check mark beside it, it means that there's a copy on my computer as well. And a couple of reasons you might want to do that. So for example, and I'm going to show you how you can move things in and out. But if I'm going to do a presentation, I may want to grab these slides that I'm going to be doing and put a copy on my computer, because if I get to the senior center where I'm going to do this presentation and they say, oops, our router just went down, we don't have access to the internet. If it was stored just in the cloud, the only way I could get to it from my laptop was via the internet, so I couldn't do my presentation. If I make a copy and put it on my laptop, then if I get to the senior center, their Wi-Fi is down, no problem. I've got a copy on my laptop. And that's what this little check mark means. There's a copy on my laptop. When I get back home, if I want to put it back in the cloud to save space on my computer, I say free up space, and you'll notice this is going to change back to a cloud. If I'm going back out again, I want to make a copy again, I say keep on my device. It's going to circle and change it to a check mark with a green background. Everybody with me so far about what this is doing? Typically, it's probably better to keep things just in the cloud because that frees up space. But OneDrive gives you the option.
And Wade, question on that. If I have the check mark and I make a change on the copy on my device, does it make that change in the cloud also?
If when I make that change, if I have Wi-Fi connection, yes. Even though there's a copy on my device, it changes it in the cloud, and that is the copy that exists.
So those two copies remain synced, if I understand.
Yeah, and if somebody else changes it while I have it, it'll show up on my laptop just the same. So it works the same whether you got a cloud or a check mark. The only thing that is slightly different is if I go to the senior center and the Wi-Fi is down, I can still edit this slide presentation. Because maybe I find a typo and I will fix the typo. Next time I get connected to Wi-Fi, it's going to sync and change the cloud, and now I'm back in sync. So you can change the offline copy, but it will sync it as soon as you get connected back to the Wi-Fi.
So the lady that was asking the question about storing it in both places, you could do that this way.
Yeah, I don't like the way I wouldn't call it storing in both places, because really the way to think about it is there's just one copy and it's that one. Yeah. But yeah, in fact, you can work on that offline copy. But unless you're not connected to Wi-Fi, it doesn't matter if it's here, if it's a cloud or it's a check mark. When I'm working on it, it's identical if I'm connected to Wi-Fi. The only time it's different is if I don't have Wi-Fi. And other questions?
Wait,
Yes.
sorry. I got a bunch of questions here. So first one is from Elaine. She said, or she asked, do you recommend that everyone moves their files to OneDrive?
You can tell that I do. I keep 100% of my files on OneDrive. So I like OneDrive. I don't know why you wouldn't want to, but some people don't want to put their things in the cloud. Some people do have security concerns, whatever, but I personally do. Is probably the way I'd answer that. I really can't speak for everyone else, but I save everything in OneDrive.
Okay. Now, one from Gloria. Can I move pictures from an iPhone via OneDrive to my Microsoft desktop?
Sure, I can go. Well, if you have iCloud Photos, so you download that app to your Windows computer, I can grab a picture off of my iCloud Photos, drag and drop it into my OneDrive, or copy and paste it. Leave it in there and put a copy down in my OneDrive. So a picture is no different than any other file. Picture's just a file.
Okay. Last two questions. So can pictures taken on iPhone be saved in OneDrive?
They can. I don't know if we have time to talk about that, but you can. That's part of the app on your iPhone, where you can tell it to save your pictures to OneDrive automatically when you're taking pictures. So it will sync your pictures from your iPhone to the cloud automatically.
Right. I think you can, yeah. I think you just need to install OneDrive, right?
Yes, you have to have
On the
OneDrive on
iPhone.
the phone. So as I do. So
Right.
this is my iPhone, but it's got OneDrive on my iPhone.
Okay.
How-
Last.
This is Gladys. I want to know how to get OneDrive on my phone. I go to the App Store and then type in OneDrive.
And then just download the app. Then you'll have to
Okay.
log in with your Microsoft username and password.
Okay. All right. What about, I was looking for my Apple iCloud and I put it in the app and it charges, if there's a cost. Is that true?
No, but that's not part of this class. So don't really have, we got a whole separate iCloud class, which goes over iCloud and how to get that on your phone and how that all works.
Okay.
Don't have time to go into that one in this.
Sure.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. So let me finish. I got a couple of things I want to finish quickly. Then I'll go back into general questions because there's, and let me go back into where I was, because there's some people I think probably have noticed you've got green backgrounds with a white check and white backgrounds with a green check. The difference between these two, and here's the one that we created in class today. And if you create something in one of the Microsoft apps, it puts it on your device as well as in iCloud. But the difference being this one, I told it to always keep it on this device. Whereas this one, if I right click on it, it hasn't been designated free up space or always keep on my device. And what that means is that anything that has this white circle with a check mark, you can let Microsoft move things into the cloud automatically if you start running out of space on your device. So if I have a ton of stuff that looks like this, Microsoft will start moving them to the cloud. Microsoft will basically do this, free up space. and automatically move it to the cloud to free up space on my device. But it can't do that if I've got it, if I've marked it and said, keep it on my device. Microsoft can't automatically move that one off of my device because I've said always keep it here. Does that make sense? That's a little confusing. But that's what these icons mean. And this icon means it's been shared. When you see the little icon with the, looks like a silhouette, bring it up a little bit higher so you can see it. That's what that icon means. So those are your status icons. And I think that was everything I intended to cover. Yes. So we got time for a couple more questions.
All right. I just downloaded the OneDrive onto my iPad and got signed in and all. Which account do I sync it up with on my desktop?
Well, whichever Microsoft account you're using on your desktop, you'd use the same account to sign into OneDrive on your phone.
All right.
If you got more than one, you can have more than one Microsoft account. So,
Okay.
and each one of them has a separate OneDrive. Other questions? I'll just kind of open it up for general questions here. I get something else in the chat. If I move OneDrive to iCloud, can I still use Word? Word will not work the same. You can't do that autosave and those other things. So if you move your files to OneDrive to iCloud. So I actually haven't tried to do that, but it definitely, you couldn't use, it's going to look like any other file storage. So it'll function pretty much like Dropbox at that point. And I had to test that to see, but I'm 95% sure you couldn't use the where it automatically saves for the autosave. Other than that, it should work, I think.
So is the green circle with the green check mark, does that mean that it's in the cloud on OneNote and on your PC?
Yes, both the check marks both mean it's on your PC. One of them,
Okay.
you're saying you're letting, it's something called storage sense, where if you turn storage sense on, you're telling Microsoft anything that has a white background, if I run out of space, move it to the cloud automatically. Don't ask me about it. It lets Microsoft manage those automatically. Whereas
Okay.
if I've got this one, Microsoft can't move it. I would have to do it. Oh, and one other thing I probably should have mentioned, you can do this at the folder level as well. So if I wanted to take everything in this folder and move it to the cloud, I could say free up space at the folder level as well. So you can do it at the file level or at the folder level. Or on the flip side, if I wanted to copy everything in that folder to my laptop, I can say, keep on this device and download everything to my laptop.
Wade, on your slide, you have that red X, failure syncing.
Uh-huh.
What would cause that?
I've never gotten one, but probably there'd be something wrong with that file, or maybe a problem with the hard drive. It can't read the hard drive where that file is stored. Like I said, I've never gotten that, so it's pretty rare, but it would be some kind of problem like that where it can't access the file for some reason. Okay, got time for one more question if there's any other question.
Wade, this is John. When I plug in a hard drive or a USB, it asks me, do I want to use OneDrive with it? Some kind of question like that. Have you seen that?
I have not noticed that one, no.
Okay, then never mind. All right, thank you.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that would be asking because that's, totally separate. Let me, I can unconnect it and connect it back and see if it, no, it's back and, back up your file. Oh, that's Google Drive, not OneDrive. I don't want to back them up to Google Drive. Okay. All right. So we need to go on to the closing. We're about 5 minutes from the end of the class. So I do want to get you out of here on time in case you're trying to get to another class. So that's the end of the official class. I know I threw a lot of information at you in this one, but hopefully it made sense. You can always get a copy of the recording if you want to watch it again. And a lot of people take the class more than once. And that's perfectly okay as well, because one nice thing about the class is never the same twice, because there's different questions each time. So if you feel like you got most of it, but not all of it, feel free to take the class again as well. There are a couple of related classes. Excel Basics, we actually are adding a lot of the Office classes now. We've got Excel, Word, and PowerPoint now. And organizing with OneNote. OneNote is a great tool that also uses OneDrive. So if you're not familiar with OneNote, that's a great class as well. So after class, you'll get an email, and want to make sure that you know about the email. There's several sections to that email. One is the class notes, and it'll have links to several sites that provide information. Some of it is repetition of what we covered in class. Some of it is related material we didn't cover in class. So take a look at those links in the class notes section. There's also a place to refer the class to a friend. So if you enjoyed the class, want to share it with a friend, you can do that by posting it on Facebook or by sending an email to a person or persons. Either way, it sends a link to this class so they can sign up directly from that link. There's also links to 3 other classes. If you want to take any one of those classes, you can just click that link and it will take you right to the registration page. Makes that really easy. There's a give feedback link, which opens our feedback form. 2 questions. How do you rate the class and how do you want to rate the guide? Click on the stars, 1 to 5 stars. There's a place to add comments. Comments are not required, but they are certainly appreciated and done. Very quick process. We do hope you're enjoying being part of the Get Set Up community. And if you want to become more active in the community, there's a number of things you can do. If you'd like to host an interest group, just let us know by sending an email to help@getsetup.io. For example, we don't have an interest group around OneDrive or even Microsoft. So if you want to start a group that meets together to talk about how they're using OneDrive and problems they're having, that would be a great group to start. So if you're interested in doing that, just send us an email. If there's a class you would like to see us teaching, you can also do that. Let us know via email. If you belong to an organization that you think would like to partner with us, same thing, send us an email with that information. And of course, to get the recording of the class today, send an email to help@getsetup.io. Be sure to include the class name and the date you attended it. And then the last link is View Schedule. And if you click View Schedule, it'll take you to our website where you can book another class. A couple of things that are new that I did want to point out in case you haven't found them. You can click here where it says View My Complete Schedule. And it's a shortcut into Schedule My Schedule, which will show you all the classes that you're signed up for. You can come here to launch to get to your classes. I think the best way to find classes is just to search by name. So if you're looking for one of those Excel classes, you can just type Excel and pick the class that you want to take from that list and sign up for that class. There's down here, there's also a way to invite someone to take the class. So if you have someone you think would want to take the class with you, you want to be in the class together. We've added a link here so you can click this and send them a link to the class. Let them know, hey, I'm attending this class. Why don't you come to the same one? And something that we just added, I think this week, is that people have asked for. If you want to search for classes by the guide, you can now just put the guide's name and hit enter. And it will show you all the classes on that person's schedule for the next 2 weeks. So you can scroll through the classes, and if you want to take a class from that person, you can book it straight from here. There's that Organize with OneNotes class I was talking about. It's going to be on the 19th at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. So those are just a few new things there. We are exactly at the end of the hour. Any questions before I leave about the website though, or any problems booking classes? Okay, well, great. I do want to thank you all for attending. I hope you learned some things about OneDrive. Like I said, it's a tough topic. Sometimes it takes a few exposures to it, but it's a great tool. It's worth the time to learn it. Thanks for attending. Hope I see you in another class really soon.
Thanks.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Have a great
Thank you.
afternoon.
Bye-bye.
Class.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.